Man. Uh-oh, I'm out of focus. I'm right here, buddy. Man. Let's take a look. This Keith Lee guy, this man's been blowing up. Like, he could single-handedly cancel restaurants. Sorry, I was reading something on there, so it took me a long time to say something. But that's so wild. That's so crazy to me. Like, he's not like a food critic or anything like that. He's just an average guy on TikTok giving out reviews, and he's canceling restaurants. It's crazy. It's amazing to me. That is so wild how much of an influence people on TikTok really have. But it's a video Patrick CC did.
Imagine you own a restaurant, and the difference between having a line of hungry customers out the door every day or your establishment looking like a ghost town is based on the experience of one man. That one man is not a professional food critic nor a culinary expert, but millions of people around the country treat his word like gospel.
That's so crazy to me. Like, why are they giving this guy so much praise on like food reviews?
Is the Keith Lee effect. Keith Lee is either Batman or Joker when it comes to restaurant owners. But once you hear his story, you will understand why he has such a cult-like following. It's much deeper than a guy who has decent taste buds. Keith Lee is a man who failed at the one thing he was actually good at. Then at his darkest moment, he refused to give up and created a meteoric influence in an industry he had no business being in. Keith described himself as a very small child who felt the need to display his dominance to overcompensate for his short stature. His bad behavior led to him getting expelled from every school in the Detroit, Michigan area.
Does he have the story as, you know, the person that grew up in the hood, single family home, always got in trouble with school? Is that what we're leading up to? Did very bad in school. Is that how his childhood was?
For attending a charter school as a last resort, where he barely managed to graduate the 8th grade.
So by the time I got to high school,
Doing
I
drugs.
was a weed head,
Yep.
smoking every day. I'm talking about bad, like every day.
I knew
my
it.
freshman year,
I knew it.
had a 0.6
Oh.
GPA.
Things would get even worse for Keith in high school, where he lived in the shadow of his brother. Keith's older brother Kevin had already garnered a remarkable reputation as a star
so he's a
athlete
fighter
who
too?
graduated with a 3.9 GPA before receiving a scholarship to wrestle for Grand Valley State University.
Oh yeah, hold on. Let's go
which
back.
is an
Let's go back.
beating a
Let's go
scholar-
back. Hold on. So, Keith's the middle kid. Oh yeah. The middle kid is always forgotten, guys. That is the forgotten child. The parents always, I don't care what anybody says, if you guys have kids, if you have more than one or two kids, and you're saying, oh, I love all my kids equally, and everything, I get that. But the middle child is always the forgotten one. Okay? It's always the forgotten one.
as a star athlete who graduated with a 3.9 GPA before receiving a scholarship to wrestle for Grand Valley State University.
So,
which
was
is
he
an
a wrestler or was he a
Division II
fighter?
school. Keith decided to follow in his brother's footsteps for all the wrong reasons.
When I got there, it was more out of spite. It was more out of arrogance. It was more out of just like, now I'm approved to you, I can do it, and I don't even want to do it. I'm gonna just do it because you told me I can't do something else. So I'm gonna just do it just to shit on you, basically.
Okay.
He utilized all his pent-up aggression and transferred it out on the wrestling mat, where he showed a genuine talent for the sport and squashed
so he
his
was good.
competition.
Okay.
But he was a stubborn, disobedient child who didn't focus on his grades, didn't stay disciplined, and quit the team. Then his father got arrested and imprisoned following a heated altercation with some people in his neighborhood. His father's inability to provide for his family meant Keith, his mother, and younger
So so it's gonna be like Keith was like the guy to try to help out around the house. Okay. Yeah, we heard the story a million times.
brother were forced to move into an abandoned home where Keith started to question his religious faith and overall perspective on life. At his lowest moment, the only way he could go was up. He stopped smoking, stopped hanging out with bad influences, and got back into wrestling.
Good.
Fast forward to his senior year, Keith averaged a 3.6 GPA and was preparing to wrestle at the Michigan High School State Championships, which hadn't been achieved by a student at Southfield High School since the 90s. He received a partial scholarship to wrestle for Indiana Tech, but made a critical error. He never actually enrolled in the school. He showed up at Indiana Tech, connected with the wrestling coach, attended random classes, and got fully immersed into the college life. He was expected.
So he got disqualified, I would assume, when he went out in matches. I would assume that's where he's leading up to. A person that's participating in extracurricular activities but isn't actually at the school, like isn't enrolled in the school. Yeah. He probably got kicked out. He probably got banned from that school.
A dorm room since he thought he had a scholarship, but when he showed up to the admissions office, they were confused.
They take me to the office and they like, you don't have no paperwork filled out, sir.
Who are you?
Yeah, they was like, only thing we have is the offer letter that we sent you.
What?
So we only got your name and your information from the offer letter. They was like, that's all we know about you. We don't know nothing else.
Dang.
Looking like a birthday party invitation.
That's so
you sent
wild,
me the invitation.
I just showed up.
Keith laughs about the situation now, but at the time, he was devastated. They told Keith if he didn't pay them $20,000 for the semester and $2,000 for the application fee, he wouldn't be allowed to go to school. Unable to get a loan, Keith had to move back with his family, who relocated to Las Vegas. He was now sharing bunk beds with his 14-year-old brother, who regularly reminded Keith that he was a loser.
At this point, I'm in the deepest depression I've been in a long time.
Dang.
Because I'm like, oh, the reality is sitting in.
Yeah,
He right.
yeah.
I'm not in school. I don't have a job. I got fired already. I didn't quit a job. My track history with work is already terrible. I didn't got kicked out of school.
Yeah.
I don't have no other offers.
Right.
Nothing in life is looking bright to me right now.
Right.
I don't have nothing going for me.
Listen.
Keith's older brother Kevin had recently secured a contract to fight in the UFC as Kevin the Motown Phenom Lee, and Kevin was a savage. At his peak, he held a 16-2 professional record and was toe-to-toe with legends like Tony Ferguson and Charles Oliveira. Kevin forced Keith to get into the gym with him, and on his first day, their coach Dewey Cooper realized the potential Keith had as an MMA fighter. Desperate for money and a purpose, Keith trained for a year straight and won his first 4 amateur fights.
Okay.
The only 2 losses he had were by split decision, meaning he was a very promising prospect. However, he was earning next to nothing for these. $500, maybe $1,000 per fight. Keep in mind...
What? I don't care if I'm an amateur fighter. You gotta give me more than that for per fight. You're gonna endure all that pain, potentially have pain for the rest of your life, or something wrong with you for the rest of your life, putting your life really in danger for $500. Yeah, like, who was that one Spanish fighter? He was either a Spanish fighter or a Spanish boxer, right? The one that's like, he's a legit vegetable now because of his last fight. It's sad. So you mean to tell me that that's the outcome that I could be potentially put in? And you want to give me $500 or $1,000 a fight? That's not worth it, man.
This was over the course of 3 years, so he was broke following a rotation of various low-end jobs. But luckily, he met his girlfriend, now wife, Ronnie, while working for ASICS. Keith credits Ronnie with being the anchor to keeping him grounded and focused on becoming the best version of himself. Following a submission victory against Leonardo Carvalho at Global Legion FC 13, Keith proposed to his girlfriend Ronnie and intentionally got her pregnant 2 days later. On the same day of the
Wait, what? Why was it worded? Why he worded like that? He proposed her and intentionally got her pregnant like the day or 2 days later. What? Am I the only one that thought that was funny?
The proposal, Keith's manager informed him that his victory against Carvalho earned him a 6-figure contract with Bellator.
Nice.
He won his very first Bellator bout against Sean Bunch. It took many years, but once he finally had a support system around him, wife, coaches, brother, he was able to crawl out of the repetitive cycle of depression and low ambition. Now with some free time and spare income, Keith signed up for TikTok. Keith's journey on TikTok started just like anyone else, participating in trends for no reason other than it seemed fun. From there, his uploads were just random things that pertain to his everyday life. He was getting maybe 50 views per video, but it seemed more like an outlet for him to have fun rather than start a business. But then the pandemic hit, the world shut down, and Keith needed to make something happen.
I'm telling you, man, if you were on TikTok during the pandemic, like if you actually were a creator on there, anybody will blow up. Anyone and everyone blew up if you were a creator during that time frame. Because TikTok, it wasn't really that big like during like pre-COVID and then COVID, right? It was this new platform. I didn't want to get on it because I was a big fan of Vine. I just thought it was just a ripoff of Vine, so it took me a while to get onto it. So I got onto it, what was it, probably like 2020 was when I got into TikTok. But yeah, anybody could have got famous during the pandemic TikTok.
I downloaded TikTok after I kept saying I wouldn't. Now I'm sick and tired of every video I post only getting 50 views. I'm gonna sit here with my dog and tip me and him get famous.
In an attempt to garner more views, Keith began posting psychology facts videos. He gained a little bit of traction, but it didn't last long. He started to become desperate for virality.
You wanna get famous? Follow these simple instructions. Download another app, cause this ain't the one. This ain't it, G. It ain't never gonna happen.
Yo, hey, no, that was funny. That was a good one. Okay.
If they solved a riddle. He posted math problems for people to solve. Even though he looked defeated, he refused to give up. At this point, Keith was obsessed with the platform, posting daily, if not multiple times per day. He started featuring his wife Ronnie on his page after he went semi-viral talking about building a nursery for their expected baby. He then proceeded to document milestones throughout their pregnancy, many of which received thousands of views and ignited a dramatic shift in Keith's content. In September of 2020, Keith won his second fight against Vinicius Zani.
Whatever they have in store for me, I'm always here to fight. I'll fight as soon as my daughter's born. My daughter's born in 4 days, so as soon as she gets here, I'm ready to go again.
He didn't lie. Just 1 week later, he and Ronnie welcomed their first child, Carter. From there, Keith's whole TikTok was dedicated to documenting him being a parent. His loving and nurturing attitude towards his child attracted a large following of supporters. He provided them with wholesome moments, such as clipping his daughter's nails for the first time and celebrating her first Halloween. This was his family man era. Keith took a fight on short notice, just 2 months after his previous, to fight on the main card at Bellator 250.
I'm calling it right now, guys. I'm calling it right now. He probably got really beat up to where he was like, no, this ain't for me no more. I guarantee you. That is why he stopped fighting. Because he probably got beat up really bad. He has a young family, and he wants to see his family grow, right? That's why he probably stopped, or he probably got badly injured to where they told him, hey, you shouldn't fight anymore. One of those two. That's why I'm just speculating right now, just based off how this is going.
3. Unfortunately, he lost by decision to Rafian Stotts, but that didn't ruin his spirits. Keith the family man kept posting his terrible dancing videos and even started sprinkling in some cooking content. By mid-2021, he had accumulated 1 million followers and was averaging maybe 100,000 views per post. This was his foundation. The people that knew Keith was a humble, honest family man. Unfortunately, he would hit a new rock bottom when he lost his 6-figure Bellator contract. In August of 2021, he was set to face his toughest opponent yet, who was undefeated. Keith was beaten and bloody and then submitted in just the first round, then got up while unconscious and stumbled headfirst into the cage.
There it is.
The clips of his loss made the rounds on social media. He was embarrassed. He got a call from his manager saying he was cut from Bellator. Keith was back to rock bottom. His first TikTok back after his loss was him poetically ordering some food.
I have these sunglasses on because my eye is black and my face is beat up. I'm fine though, for anybody. Well, I'm not fine, but
those are women glasses too.
Immortals of Avium.
It's not even unisex. Those are women glasses.
Arsenal of magic spells
I'll be fine.
He had 1 million followers, but he was only making around $400 per month on TikTok. His fight career was looking grim, and TikTok did
$400 per month with the 1 million views. What? Is my math right here? No, my math's not right. No, that's not right. Hold on. So it's 400 divided by 1 million. Okay. 0.0004. Bro. That's why TikTok ain't the way to go if you really want to be a content creator. If you want to be a content creator, you gotta get those fans and get those followers to YouTube. YouTube, even Kick's better than that. Not Kick, Twitch. Man, that's rough.
Didn't seem realistic. Then he got a call from the owner of Harold's Chicken just a couple days after his loss. They asked him to do a review of their establishment. At the time, he didn't know it, but Keith just discovered his next big venture.
All right, Harold's Chicken in Las Vegas. They didn't have no mac and cheese, but it's okay. Overall, I get a food of 9 out of 10. Without question.
Following his review of Harold's Chicken, Keith made food reviews as a side quest on his page. However, his main focus was on family vlogs and cooking content. He was still largely referred to as the cooking guy, regularly being asked about his cooking content during interviews. In January of 2022, his wife became pregnant with their second child, and they desperately needed to find another source of income. He started doing more and more food reviews, but they weren't that organized, and he was very generous with his ratings.
We are sitting outside of Firehouse Subs because today we are doing an official...
Yo, he better get Firehouse Subs a 5 max. He better not give them anything over a 5. On a good day, they're like 4.5.
Food review. This has the perfect amount of spice. Like my tongue is tingling a little bit. I got that feeling on my lips. You still taste all of the flavor. 10 out of 10.
Keith says he leaned on his faith.
10 out of 10? Yo, how much they pay you? How much they pay you for that, Keith?
and prayed something good would come from this TikTok thing, and it did. In June of 2022, he signed a brand deal with Wingstop worth 6 figures, the same amount he had lost from the Bellator contract. He successfully was making a career on TikTok, but it was about to get a whole lot better. His food reviews slowly started to become his main content, because his brutal honesty was very entertaining.
Altogether, this food was $50, and the customer service was terrible. The lady at the front where I was picking up was really rude. Like, extremely rude. I had to call back and get her name.
It's his personality, like how he presents himself. That's why. He's almost like a robot.
She lied because she answered the phone like I didn't.
I mean, no, I like it. I like how he presents himself.
And said, "Hold on, let me go get the girl. You the girl."
Then in October, the popular YouTube channel People vs. Food approached him to collaborate on their channel, and he accepted. This channel has over 12 million YouTube subscribers, and he knew the exposure would help his TikTok career immensely. By the way, double check if you're subscribed to my channel. I asked my wife what I should post on my page to make people not only come and watch, but actually follow, and we decided to post one full review every day. The first got like 11 million views. From there, Keith's entire content shifted to strictly food reviews. He has only been doing it full time for 1 year at this point, but he never could have predicted what was
he's
about to
making
happen
millions
next.
now.
While most high-profile food critics only pay attention to high-end restaurants that are too expensive for most, Keith shifted that focus onto affordable, small, family-owned restaurants that were easily accessible to the public, or fast food / popular affordable food chains. He even went out of his way to give a chance to establishments that were struggling financially. However, Keith doesn't consider himself a food critic. His reviews feel and look
No,
like
that
one of your
looks
friends
good,
giving you a
man.
casual breakdown. A typical review would be him ordering 3 or 4 different items on the menu, like a family of 4 would, then tasting every single item and rating it from 1 to 10. He often throws in other notes like their customer service or additional information that is relevant to the experience.
I got it. Let's try it and rate it 1 through 10. I spent $23.84 on 3 bao buns and a drink. But bro, that's what they look like. Customer service, delightful. It was a very short interaction, but the guy who worked at the front was really nice. And the actual building itself, very aesthetic.
He probably gets a lot of food for free.
Wait a minute, bro. Personally, it was lacking spice, so the add of the salsa took the tacos itself from a 9 to a 9.7. That's one of them ones.
Even when he gives a negative review to the food, he will provide more context so it doesn't come off as unfair. He often goes out of his way to leave massive tips, sometimes hundreds of dollars, to workers that give him good service. Since he had already built a strong foundation during his family man era, there wasn't necessarily one viral review that changed his life. His growth has been steady, and along the journey his audience latched onto his down-to-earth attitude, unwavering love for his wife and kids, and dedication to God. But even if you don't know about his past, after watching a few videos you can just feel he is a kind and genuine man. They didn't care about Keith not being technically qualified nor having a depth of culinary knowledge. He thinks what sets him apart is his values. I stand on my integrity, I stand on my values, and I don't allow those to be wavered or to be shook no matter the amount of money, the opportunity, or the people I'm surrounded by. With nearly 10 million loyal followers, a full-time dedication to quality reviews of local or less popular restaurants, a phenomenon dubbed the Keith Lee effect.
Yes, 10. Okay, let's do another little math problem. He has 10 million. He has 10 million followers. Okay, this is if he starts like a side business, or like not even a side business. If he starts like a business, right? If this guy can convert, we'll say 5%. That's 500. If he could convert 500,000 people out of 10 million followers into loyal fans that spend a minimum, or not even minimum, let's go maximum, a maximum of $100 off his products that he sells. If those loyal fans, those 500,000 loyal fans spend $100 per year on whatever product, whatever service he's providing, this man makes $50 million a year if he does that. $50 million. And we just trying to figure out how we gonna eat tomorrow. Bro, hey, I got it. I got a new niche, guys. My new niche is food reviews. We doing it. We're gonna start off with Whataburger.
Would take over Las Vegas, then all over the USA. One of the first beneficiaries of the Keith Lee effect was a local food truck called 303 in the Cut. In November 2022, Keith's review blew up and garnered over 35 million TikTok views since its initial upload. Keith confirmed their cheesecake sandwich was a 10 out of 10, and the next night, 303 had people waiting in line for over an hour.
Bro, if this guy starts a restaurant or does anything in the food business, it's over. It's over. Like, that's literally what he needs to ride that wave. I would start up a restaurant if I was him. Like, do something that involves food.
Wrapped around the corner for their food. The owner said they doubled their income in one day, and it stayed that way for over a year. One Las Vegas pizzeria he reviewed, Frankincense, made headlines for attracting lines around the block because Keith gave their wings a 10, pizza a 9.8, and garlic knots a 9.2. However, it wasn't just the food. It was Keith's interaction with the owner, Frank, that made people want to support him even more.
If I don't like the food, I gotta tell you, I'm not trying to be malicious. And he was like, I'm gonna be real with you too. I need help. Yeah, that hit me here. He said the food is delicious. He has great reviews on Yelp. The only bad reviews is that he don't close the time it says that he closed on Google. The time it says he closed on Google is 1 a.m. He was like, I literally can't afford to open that late because we don't get that much business. Frank, if you're watching this, I'm going to be completely honest. You are an amazing man from what I saw. I appreciated your time and I appreciated your conversation.
That's why the man has a lot of followers, man. Just because of stuff like that.
Let's try this food.
According to Frank, Frankincense had to hire 23 new team members in the 6 weeks following Keith's review and had guests from all over the world patiently waiting for over 3 hours for his pizza. Frank said he was thankful that Keith helped his business and the overall community at large in Las Vegas. Yasser Zermino, owner of Aroma Latin American Cochina, asked Keith to come review their restaurant through email. Keith gave all 5 different items over a 9, including the Oaxaca sandwich, which he said was...
At this point, I feel like it's staged at this point. Now, granted, I have not seen this man's TikTok at all. I haven't even seen a snippet of it, but it's skewed. It's 100% skewed because he's getting DMs, emails, messages from companies, restaurants telling him to review their food, right? On top of that, he probably gets this for free, right? I can almost guarantee you he gets the food for free. Like, they put it on the house, I guarantee you. Not all of them, but a decent amount of them. And then on top of that, they more than likely pay him. Think about that. Hey, man, we'll give you $5,000 if you say our food's good. Now, granted, he's gonna have some morals. If it's really bad, he's not gonna say that it's really good because it's gonna make him look bad. So it has to be somewhat decent for him to say. But I think, and I firmly believe it, just deep down here, that his reviews are slightly skewed to benefit the restaurants. That's just me. I could be wrong because I have not seen his page at all. I don't know how many good reviews he gives compared to how many negative reviews he gives. It's just me just watching Patrick Cece's video, seeing all the top quality 10s and 9s that he's given people. And, you know, my alarm's going off. My alarm's going off on that.
The best he had ever had in his life. The owner said, "We went from not being able to pay the bills to now having to hire people to come and help us." Other Vegas-based businesses that Keith reviewed have seen instant growth, like Caribbean restaurant The Pink Potato or Southern Taste Seafood, a food truck that went from making $200 or under a day to seeing a 900% increase in revenue in the days following Keith's review. But his impact wasn't just on small businesses. Even Chipotle...
Bro, hey, come on. You better have given Chipotle something bad. Let their stock go down. Guys, if you've been on this channel long enough, you know me and Chipotle have a love-hate relationship. I despise them right now. I hate them so mad. So bad. They make me so mad. I can't even talk right when I have Chipotle in my mind. It just irks me. It irks me so bad. Like I just get PTSD.
The fast casual chain that generated $8.6 billion in revenue in 2022 saw the benefits of the Keith Lee effect. In early 2023, a reviewer named Alexis Frost posted a review of a menu hack, an order of a steak quesadilla with extra cheese and fajita veggies that fans say tastes like a Philly cheesesteak. Keith reviewed it and gave it a 9.8. Then chaos ensued. Chipotle workers all over the country were overwhelmed with the tens of thousands of people coming in to order this hack. One employee said the worst shift of her life was servicing this trend. Another employee said a customer tried to swing on him, aka fight him, because he couldn't make the food. Managers started posting signs that say, "Protein and cheese on quesadilla only." Chipotle realized the only way to solve this problem was by adding the hack as an option on their menu, dubbed the Keithadilla. Keith quickly became well known all over Las Vegas. Once he partnered up with Mr. Beast to give $10,000 to a struggling business, he couldn't even go outside without being swarmed, so he dressed up in silly disguises to avoid being recognized. But his impact is not.
Oh, he's that famous?
Keith got to review a local Brooklyn bakery that he selected while being interviewed on Good Morning America, while also donating $10,000 to that business. He continued to do press runs, being interviewed on talk shows around America, and of course, reviewing food. So now that we know how much positive impact Keith can have on a business when he likes
tell me the negative.
what about when he doesn't like the food? Well, unfortunately, the entire city of Atlanta would find out about the negative side.
So this is what put me on Keith. Was when he was in Atlanta. Okay, so now we're getting to where I know Keith from his content.
The Keith Lee effect. In
Based
October
off what I heard.
2023, Keith announced to his nearly 15 million TikTok followers that he and his family were traveling to Atlanta, Georgia, and needed some restaurant recommendations. He had previously made videos in Detroit, Chicago, New Orleans, New York, and Los Angeles, but Atlanta's food scene is entirely different, which prompted a lot of mixed reviews from Keith. The drama first began when Keith visited the Atlanta Breakfast Club.
Come on, we're getting so good. No.
You know you always get a fair deal on wheels.
Where he wanted to take the food to go, but they didn't have anywhere to sit and wait for the food. So instead, they decided to dine in, but the restaurant wouldn't allow them to sit down at a table and be served unless the entire party was there. Upon finding out that they were charged $1 for butter at a breakfast place, it was just an annoying cherry on top. Little did Keith know, it was about to get worse. Keith posted his review of The Real Milk and Honey, however, he didn't actually get any food. Firstly, he tried to call ahead and order. They don't accept call-ins. You can only order on the DoorDash app. But DoorDash said that they were closed. So they drove to the establishment in the middle of the day and the employees said they were closed for deep cleaning, while there were customers walking in and picking up orders. Then Keith...
Dang. He made that company go bankrupt, I bet.
into the restaurant and they recognized him and immediately attempted to serve him since he is famous, to which he declined. Keith has always been very expressive that he doesn't want nor deserve special treatment from restaurants. These days he sends in his friends and family to do orders so he doesn't receive bias from the establishment. He wants his experience to match any ordinary person. I've personally never seen a restaurant have a rules list, but the Real Milk and Honey have a ton. We guarantee great food. Everything else is left to chance. We do not provide individual checks. 18% gratuity added to parties of 5 or more or checks larger than $105. No reservations, unless you're Barack Obama. No parties larger than 4 on days that end in Y. Keith was clearly frustrated that a business would change the rules when it benefits them, but he didn't want people to attack the Real Milk and Honey because he had a bad experience. However, the internet, being the internet, started attacking. There was actually another restaurant called Milk and Honey whose owners were receiving death threats in the DMs because of people confusing them with the other restaurant. But if you had any sympathy for the Real Milk and Honey, it would be gone once you saw their response video they uploaded to TikTok.
Did you see this Keith Lee video about the Real Milk and Honey?
And who is this Keith Lee?
Daddy.
Oh no, they probably hold on.
Lee? Yeah.
No.
The owner tried to look cool and pretend like he didn't know the entirety of social media is destroying his business, but it only made people want to support their business less. To add insult to injury, Keith reviewed the bodega positively, which is directly next door to the Real Milk and Honey, which resulted in a line of customers.
Imagine that. Just you look across the street and you see a line that's snaking half a mile long to go to your competitor, and you just see cobwebs on your chairs. Oh man, that owner messed up for that. He shouldn't have said that. Act like you don't know who this man is. You know damn well who this guy is. That's what you get, man. Trying to play it cool.
Customers skipping the Real Milk and Honey to wait in line for the bodega, but the shenanigans continued. Keith reviewed another ATL restaurant called Old Lady Gang, but again, did not get any food. He tried to call their number, no answer. Tried to order on DoorDash, said they were closed. He sent his family into the physical store to do takeout. They said they don't do to-go orders on the weekends, but the wait to dine in was 1.5 hours and they didn't take reservations. Instead of leaving, Keith decided to walk in where he was recognized and immediately they offered him a seat, skipping the entire 1.5-hour wait, to which Keith denied because he didn't want any celebrity treatment. This is exactly how it is for us regular ATL folks. Imagine them telling you your wait time is 1.5 hours, then someone else comes up and sits immediately. Keith left and visited Toast on Linux, where he didn't plan on doing a review but arrived to a 2.5-hour wait time. When he politely left, the entire staff walked out and offered him a seat immediately, to which he denied again. There were videos that went viral of him in the parking lot seemingly arguing with the staff, but he was just letting them know that he didn't want to skip the line. But Keith's experiences are not just unique to him. Cardi B spoke on the subject on an IG Live.
I feel like Atlanta restaurants.
Man, that's wild to me. If it was me, I'll skip that line. I don't care. I don't have to wait 2 hours. You can sit me down right now. I would have abused that power.
They don't like to make money. I feel like they don't like people. They don't like their customers. They just don't like it. First thing first, right? You could barely order in Atlanta restaurants. Like you go like, hey, I would like to make an order. Oh yeah, we don't take orders. We don't take orders. It gets to the point that I literally have to I have to tell like people that order food for me, like, can you just name drop my name? Because first, they don't do no pickup orders. They don't do deliveries. They just don't do shit.
And of course, we got some hilarious memes from this whole situation.
You walk in. Let me show you how it's done. Hello, sir. How are you today? May I take your order? You talk like that. We talk like that. Because Keith Lee is in town, bro.
That boy Keith Lee in Atlanta now. Hey, y'all little boozy at restaurants? Y'all better get on your goddamn Zoom now. Hey, Milk and Honey? Uh-huh. See, that was y'all last get for giving me attitude when I told y'all my partner was just down the street parking the car.
History's greatest hero.
The professor?
Yo, these restaurants tighten up when they hear that name.
Although most people were understanding of Keith's frustration with these ATL businesses, others, like ex-football player Chad Ochocinco, thought he was trying to tear down black-owned businesses.
I don't like the critiquing of our restaurants and having people and talking bad about our goddamn businesses.
There you go.
Like, dude, you know how hard it is
and I get it, Ocho.
for us to even.
He's just talking about his experience. It has nothing to do about the race and being black owned or anything like that. Right? No matter who it was, who owns it, if he had a negative experience, he's going to let it know. He's going to let it be known that it was negative, regardless of the color of their skin. And Keith, to me, just based off all this, seems like he 100% supports black-owned businesses. Right?
And get in the food industry. What are the qualifications of being a food critic?
Go to a restaurant and do you like the food? Did you like the customer service? What was it like? Yes. What was the wait?
Bro, why is he
That's all you
acting
gotta
like
do.
that?
At the end of the day, Keith just gives his honest opinion and experience, but he implores everyone to try for themselves. If he is too positive, his opinion will hold no weight. If he is too negative, he will be seen as destructive. There will always be haters. However, broadcasting his opinion to 14 million followers will, without a
15
doubt,
now.
prevent a lot of people from trying a restaurant. If someone I trust says don't go somewhere to eat, I'll probably listen to them. Or if I have one bad experience, I probably won't go there again. This is why some people argue that you can't have a bad day in the customer service industry. If you can't afford a bad review, then you shouldn't give bad service, especially if you are inviting a food critic to your establishment, which a lot of these restaurants do. Through all the drama, Keith found a lot of gems in Atlanta. The seafood menu, juicy jerk, the dining experience, which he personally tipped the owner $2,000, and Jamaican
Dang.
jerk biz, where the owner broke into tears when he walked in. He asked the owner what her sales were for the day, which was $2,600, and he paid her $3,000 for his meal. However, Keith just announced that he's on his way to Houston to do a food tour, and restaurant owners are trembling. In just 10 months of fame, Keith has helped hundreds of businesses, raised tens of thousands of dollars for charity, and continues to spread love and positivity during a time where we need it the most. Maybe from here he will start a food review show, or a cooking show, or maybe an app for restaurants all around the country that he recommends. As long as he remains the positive and wholesome man social media knows and loves, they will support whatever endeavor he chooses. Finally, the internet made the right person famous.
Facts. Huge news about Grand Theft Auto. What's going on with Grand Theft Auto 6? Wait, get paid $100,000 a week using OfferUp, 10 minutes a day. Yo, OfferUp's a scam. I don't know what's the bigger scam, OfferUp or what's the other one? I'm just drawing a blank on that name. Or Wish. I think Wish got it. Like, Wish is really, really bad. I'll be right back, guys. I gotta go to the restroom. boys. About to get off real quick. I'm about to finish. I'm gonna watch the rest of this football game. Later.